time now for our Knicks Fix, as always, presented by Alan Hahn from our Squarespace studio. And Alan, you look at the Knicks shooting from downtown, they should shoot more from downtown.
You know, it's amazing, too. In the game against the Sixers, they shot 52% from three-point range. They were 13 of 25, which has raised their season total to 36.7%. And that's good enough for top 10 in the NBA. Now, the issue, of course, is the fact that they don't take nearly enough for it to be as effective as you see here. Again, top 10 in percentage, so they shoot it at a high percentage, but you see their attempts at 28-3, very much at the bottom. And so obviously the makes also keep them at the bottom because you'd think they're not shooting enough. And David Fizdale has talked about the need for taking more threes because that's the game today. That's the NBA. The top teams in the league are shooting 40 three-pointers per game. So you can see that the 28, which sounds like a lot, is not nearly enough. Now, they added their three-point shooters this year. Marcus Morris at 46%, outstanding. Bobby Portis is at 38%. Kevin Knox has been much improved this year at 40%. R.J. Barrett has been very effective at 36% as well. So it is something that they have the ability to do. The bottom line is getting into the paint, creating defensive movement so you can have kickouts for threes and rhythm shots. That's what they have to get better at, and those are the things they're working on. One note, though, real quick, Bill. Of those teams in the top 10 in three-point percentage, only 3 have a winning record. So what does that tell you? It's actually the teams that take more threes. The top 10 that take the most, 6 of them have a winning record. So maybe it's more that take than the ones you just make.
Now, you mentioned Kevin Knox in your discussion there. Did not play at all in the second half against Philadelphia on Wednesday, but seems to be taking the demotion in stride.
Yeah, and he had a good start to the season, as we know. A bit of a regression now over the last 4 games, just quickly averaging 10 points a game and 23 minutes per game in those first 11. But over the last 4, his minutes have dropped to 14.7 minutes per game, just shooting 30% from the field. And a three-point shot, which has been great for him. He was only 2 of his last 10 from downtown. Now, like you said, he didn't play in the second half in Philadelphia. And, you know, after a rookie season where he was given minutes to play through mistakes and play through a lot of things to learn and get experience, this time around in his second year, David Fizdale wants him to earn his burn. And I'll tell you what, at practice, when he did talk about it, I think he said all the right things.
It was tough, but I mean, it was something that had to be done. Fizz made his decision. So I mean, I just made sure I was the best teammate on the bench. Making sure I was cheering my guys on, keeping my guys up. I didn't want to sit at the end of the bench, soak and cry, and just have an attitude because I wasn't playing. So I had the right mindset going in. Came in the next day, got my work in, watched film on what I need to get better at. So my opportunity come next time, I can be able to produce. You know, I've been struggling defensively, but I'm not going to put my head down and just keep soaking. I'm going to try to step up to the challenge. I'm going to watch a lot of my film and practice. I'm going to try and get better defensively, making the right reads and stuff like that so it can translate to the game.
David Fizdale did say that he is definitely riding Knox right now, wants to challenge him to take his game to another level, especially on the defensive end. That's the toughest for young players. Bill, we have to remember, he's still only 20 years old.
All right, Alan, the Spurs come in having lost 8 in a row. It's the worst run ever for Greg Popovich, now in his 24th year as the head coach of the Spurs. But we know this is a coach whose job is not in jeopardy.
It's the one guy that probably can survive through losing streaks like this early in the season without having any questions about his future as head coach. He just signed a 3-year extension last spring, so he's going to be here after his 70th birthday. So he's going to be with the Spurs, you expect, for at least 2 more seasons after this. But it still raises questions about who will take over eventually when it is time for him to retire from the Spurs and move on. And we've seen his coaching tree has been, you know, outstanding when you think about the different names that Brett Brown, Mike Budenholzer, James Borrego, Monty Williams, Jim Boylan, all are NBA head coaches right now. But he does have 2 on his staff right now that a lot of people are talking about. It could be the successors. And one of them is Tim Duncan. The other one, of course, is Becky Hammon, who's been on the staff since 2014. Now, this is a recent game against Portland where Pop gets ejected, and now Becky Hammon was moved to the front row this season, so you would think, okay, she's been there the most. She probably takes over as head coach, opportunity to be the first head coach, female head coach in NBA history. But no, Tim Duncan was given the game. So as you see, he's running the huddle there. And so Becky Hammon was not given the chance to be a head coach in an NBA game, which would have made some history. Now, when Pop was asked about this and why he didn't give the game to Becky to finish, he said he wasn't interested in making history. And now we know he's given her a lot of opportunity, and there's been a lot of talk about her. If she doesn't move on to be the head coach of the Spurs, there'll be some other teams that could be interested in giving her an interview to become a head coach. So that's a matter of time. But it's become such a story that, in fact, Vegas is getting involved. Bovada, which is an online betting service, actually has odds on it. And between her and Tim Duncan, Becky Hammon is the odds-on favorite, at least, to succeed Greg Popovich.
Okay, Alan, how about a stat of the night now?
Well, we were talking about three-point shooting. Well, the Spurs are also like the Knicks. They don't take a lot of threes either, but it's something to keep an eye on because they're 30th in the league, so it's not a big part of their offense. But as we know, we saw Mike Scott get hot as the Sixers don't shoot a lot of threes, but once he got hot, that game turned. So watch tonight. Make sure not one guy gets hot from downtown.